Hi, today we're painting this beautiful African princess. I hope you'll join me in creating this beautiful piece that actually tells a story with the mud cloth. Let's get started. Our supplies today is our canvas, our paints, our primary colors plus black and white, so that's blue, yellow, and red. 3 brushes, a large, a medium, and a small. Water and a pencil. Let's get started. So what I first did was I grabbed my pencil and I grabbed a styrofoam plate, paper plate, regular ceramic dish out of the kitchen, whatever you'd like, because I'm going to be putting in Nigozi's face. Now, you don't have to make it perfectly circular. You can just freehand it in, whatever you want to do. For this particular one, since there's so many angles, I want it to be pretty round. So what I did was I took this plate and I put it up against my canvas, and I have it about, let's see, let me put up here so you can see. It's almost at the halfway mark, so that's the same amount of top and bottom, but I want to have the top to have a little bit more area than the bottom. So I'll bring it down a bit, okay? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to trace. Yes, you can trace. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? And I'm just going to take my pencil and you know I'm terribly dark lines. I might do that right now for you because okay, there you go. When we paint her in, we're going to be able to color over that line because we're using a darker paint, okay? So I got that to there, and then I'm going to give her a neck. That was it, okay? What I love about this is that really once you just put in the lips, the nose, the eyes, everything else is you. It's how you want it to be. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come around here and I'm going to give her half a lip. And again, I'm going to do it darker so that you can see it. You're going to do it lightly so that you don't have a lot of things to cover over. So we go from our Cupid's bow up and down, and then we swoop down. What a pretty set of lips, right? And then we're just gonna bring it across. Okay, we bring it a little closer for you to see. That's it. And again, as we paint it, we can adjust it if we need to, okay? When it comes to her nose, we're gonna paint over this, but again, you just wanna have an idea for placement. And it's going to come up here. And it's going to swoop down, okay? That's it. That's going to be her nose. Okay, and now her eye. We're going to hook here with the eye, and the eye is going to be fun. So you're going to come up to the nose and come across, okay? Mouth, nose, eye would be up here, and we're going to come across. And what we're going to do is we're just going to give her the bottom of her eye, and we're going to make it half a circle. Okay, so if that helps you at all, if you want to take a picture of this and print it out on your printer, that's fine too, and then lay it over. Again, you see I'm just freehanding this, and because it's an abstract, It doesn't have to be, you know, exactly one pencil's length to the corner of your eye from the middle of the nose. None of that applies because this is going to be completely abstract, okay? So from there, what I'm going to do is I want the top of her headdress or her wrap to come just over the eye, okay? Bringing it again forward for you to see. Just comes over the eye. And from there, it's going to have an earring. Our earring right now is just a teardrop, okay? So right there, if you could see everything, we have a circle, we have an eye, a nose, a mouth. Again, half a nose, half a mouth, one eye. The great thing about this is because you don't have to worry about symmetry, because we're only giving the side of her face, okay? So what we're going to do in here is we're going to make a pupil. Big, beautiful pupil, big, beautiful eye, okay? We're going to give her an eyelid. Where we're going to put her eyeshadow. And you see it did go over, and that's fine. Because again, we're gonna basically paint over all of these things. Right now, we just want to get a feel for our placement. I love when we do the wrap that it's all sorts of different colors you're gonna make. You're gonna be able to blend all sorts of fun things. But right now, this is it. And then we're gonna, you know, segment the top, do all sorts of fun things. Right now though, we wanna get her skin tone down. So let's get to that. I put all of our colors on my plate because we're going to make brown. What we're going to do is we're going to take some yellow and draw it into the middle. Take some blue, draw it into the middle, right? And take a little bit of red and draw it into the middle. And we're going to blend it, okay? Now, what I would love to do is an abstract like this, where the skin is any color. Maybe the skin is red or yellow or black or green, or, you know, just something really, really abstract and fun. So right now you can tell I have a lot of yellow and blue in there because I have a very dark green. What will I do to that? I will add some more red. And that red is going to it's going to take us to the brown. Okay. Still a little dark for me. And I will post the link to my blending video. Again, it's still a little on the purpley side now. We're getting that green in there. And if you want to check to see what color you have, just take off most of it and drag it, and you'll see what color you have. Now that's not terrible, but I think I want it to be a little bit softer, a bit of a softer red. I'm sorry, a softer brown. And if you find you have the right shade, the right color, but then you want to change the shade, add a little black, it'll make it darker, add a little white, it'll make it lighter, okay? So let me see. Oh, I think I'm a little happy with that. I'm a little happy. I think maybe I'll add just a little bit more yellow. See what happens, just from the edge, always coming from the edge. Oh, okay. Let me look at it straight on. Okay, I like that. Do I want to add a little white? Let's see. Okay, I like that too. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with my brown. And by, again, adding more white, more yellow, you can really get this to any skin tone that you would like, okay? My version of Nigozi is dark. because that's what I want to represent. Okay. Nigozi is actually a Swahili name, a Swahili word for blessings. And Anyi is from the U dialect, meaning bee, as in bumblebee. So I call her Nigozi Anyi, as in blessings bee, even though the bee is not the right one, okay? So I've got that to a nice shade. I'm happy with it. As you know, mostly I don't always fully blend it. This time I am, okay? I can decide if I really want that. Do I want a little bit more white in it to brighten it up a little bit? Not necessarily to lighten this color, but just to brighten it onto the canvas. You can decide if you want that, if you want more yellow, to give it a warmer tone. Completely up to you. But this is really what's going to take you the longest, is getting, you know, the color that you want your queen to be. Okay, I'm pretty happy. So I'm going to go with that. Okay, so I have my color here, and I'm going to stay within my circle and my neck. I can decide later if I want to give her a necklace, and I'm going to definitely go on the sides and come up and around and do it this way. And again, like I said, it's okay if you're going to go over the pencil that you drew in, just to get placement. And if you do it really lightly, you can still see the pencil mark coming through. I'm going to do this, come around her mouth. I'm using my biggest brush because I really want to get that coverage going. Okay, so let me just swing around here. Again, bringing her neck down. Maybe I'll give her some jewelry on her neck. Or a scarf. I can bring a scarf down. Okay. And because I don't want it to be streaky, I'm going to make sure I come in here before these colors dry. Before this paint dries, I should say. Come all the way up to here. And you could decide if you want to have our eye bigger. Again, this is an abstract piece. So the eye can be half the size of her head if you'd like. Completely up to you. My brush has gotten a little bit dry. And when it gets too dry, it doesn't, just doesn't float on the canvas nicely. Okay. And I did this painting originally, a couple of years ago, maybe a year and a half. Oh my goodness, the years have gone by, 2 years ago. And it's hard, you know, when we have to stick to certain schedules and not everybody can make it. But I love now that we do this where everybody can join in when they're ready. Doing it at night if you want, after the kids are asleep. You kids, if you're doing it after you finish your homework, on a weekend. It's a great family painting as well. You know, let everybody in the family do one. See what it comes out like. Okay, so we kind of have the skin tone down. I'm going to let it dry up a little bit, and then I'm going to go over it again, because sometimes if you're putting too much paint on, it's just going to move it around, because as much as I'm putting on, I'm actually taking some off, I'm sure. So I'm going to let that dry up a little bit. Okay? As a matter of fact, I have my heat gun here, which is the same thing. If you wanted to use a blow dryer, you can do that to expedite the drying. I'm just do a quick over. I love when I don't have to cut away, and I can show you how I'm doing that. And again, you can just use a blow dryer for that, or just wait. You know, time, you can wait as well. Why not? Go get a drink, get a snack, come on back. Okay, so now that's dry. I'm just gonna go over it again and really fill it in nicely, nice, smooth. I mean, if you can create your own complexion, why not make it how you want it? And I would like a nice smooth complexion. Okay. Again, getting that neck in there. Now, if you wanted the neck to be shorter, by all means, bring your plate down or use a bigger plate. Or just freehand it, like I said. Let me get that side, okay? Because, you know, since I paint around the sides, I'll have to get that paint on there as well. And when you're doing the skin tone, you may want to mix plenty so that you don't have to try to go back and mix more and create the same color, because it's not always easy when you're matching skin. If this was more of an impressionist, then not a problem. But this is very blocky. Okay. I think we're there. And again, whatever skin tone you want. If you want it to be purple, by all means, make her purple. Okay. Up there, a little bit up there. Okay, so we pretty much have her going there. Now, like I said, I want to do my sides while I can. So I would do down here beneath my lips onto my neck, and my mouth would come up that way. Don't want my plate to fall. Okay. All right, beautiful. Okay, so there she is. Again, sometimes I can't necessarily see too well with the glare. I put an extra light on so it's a little bit brighter for you. I hope it helps. I think it does. Okay, so now I've got her where I want her. Okay, and now's when things get crazy. You can really make this your own. So I'm going to put my brush in the water. I'm going to wash it off. And like you know, we wash, wash, wash. So we don't have to leave it in the water. There was a lot of paint stuffed in there, so I want to make sure that I can really get it out. Okay. I'm gonna switch up to a smaller brush right now because I'm going to do the mouth and the eye. Okay, so let me grab this brush. Put in some water, wash it out. Okay, so I want to do the lip right now. And because I put some brown into the red, remember when I was trying to bring them together? I like that there. I'm gonna use some of that. Again, just to soften it. Why not, right? Maybe I'll take some more of that brown, just bring it into the edge of the red. And I'm gonna come right in here. And just like you're putting on your lipstick, I'm gonna fill that in. And you see how mixing that little bit of brown in there really toned it down? It's not that super bright red. I like that. So even if we put super bright red over it, it's still gonna have a nice base color. Because again, we're gonna have to do a few coats on this because the white's gonna show through. We don't want that. I'm using this nice sharp brush. Really get over. And it's okay if it goes over the, onto the brown, onto the skin tone. It's just almost like a lip liner, so to speak. Okay, we're gonna put that there. And again, we're going to make sure we do the sides. I have to just lean it this way. It doesn't have to be precise on the sides, but we do want to give it that wrapped around feeling. Okay. So we've got Nigozi's lips in there. Put that a little bit there. And again, it's drying up nicely. I'll put another layer on it. Okay. And we'll come back to that after it dries up. So now I'm going to go into the eye. And I'm going to get a smaller brush, my tiny brush, which is my line brush, which we're going to be using quite a bit today when we're ready to do all the other, pieces there. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put the whites of her eyes in, okay? Some white on my liner brush. And I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to do the whole thing, even where her where her eyelid is going to be. Why not, right? This way we have a nice clean line when I bring the color in. Okay, and that's where her pupil is. Okay, this side over here. Okay, so got that there done. And I'm going to go around it later with a liner, so to speak. But right now I have that done. Now you can do the pupil whatever color you'd like. This is where I really wanted it to be super, super how can I, really, really deep. So I'm going to go with black and a little bit of blue. And that's just to make that black really stand out. And I'm going to bring it right in here. Now, if you want to make sure that the white is dry so it doesn't drag into it, that's fine. Or you can be super, super careful. Or both. And again, we're just getting our base colors down. I'm going to go back and finesse it in a bit. Okay. And you can name her whatever you'd like. I just like the blessings be. But that's just for me, you know. And the cool thing about it is, you know, if you've done your ancestry, you can see what are you, you know, where you derive from. And believe it or not, I have Nigeria, Nairobi, Ghana, and there's another one I don't remember at the moment. I'll look it up for you. I just know when I looked up what the dialects were, one of them was from the U dialect. And that's why I wanted to use that one. Okay, I know she looks a little excited there. She looks a little shocked, but that's because I haven't put the eyelid on yet. So I'm going to just clean up my brush and I'll be right back. I'm so sorry my camera fell. So if it's not in the same exact position, I'm terribly sorry. So right now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put in the eyeshadow or the eyelid. And I've decided I'm going to make that kind of like a light green. So I take a little bit of yellow and a little bit of blue, mix it up. And it's going to come in and come around. And I'm going to go across the top of the eye, of the pupil. Because otherwise, that's like, it looks like she's scared. I don't want that. Come up and come over. Okay, and again, since it's so see-through, you know, since our paint is so see-through, I think maybe I'll mix it with a little white. So again, taking a little bit of blue in there, a little bit of yellow in there, but I'm also going to take a little bit of white off the side. Because what the white's going to do, it's going to give it some, it's going to ground it, okay? For want of a better word, it's going to give it some base to really hold on to that canvas. See? And when I try to go for the black, it'll actually pretty much go over the black. I hope you'll all send me what yours came out looking like. Because remember, it's supposed to come out different than mine. Mine is just an idea. Just to give you some guidance. But you really, I want to see you make it your own. Okay. Remember, we already painted the white in. the whites of the eye. When I get this part done, I'm gonna actually outline it like I said, and that'll really bring it to life. Okay, so now got that nice green going over the top. Coming across. Okay, I like that. What we're gonna go do now is I'm gonna just color in her earrings. Again, I'm not gonna wash my brush. I'm gonna take a little bit of yellow, bring it up here, a little bit of that white, remember? Just to ground it. I'm just gonna cover in here. And I didn't wash my brush, so a little bit of the blue's coming out. That's fine. I mean, if you wanted a pure white, a pure yellow, by all means, wash your brush out. But I like to be surprised. I like to see what's going to show up. Okay, so I like that. And that's to there. And now, let me see, my mouth is dry, so I'm going to just wash out my brush because I don't want the yellow to get on there. I mean, it would just give it an orangey hue, so to speak, but I want it, you know, I don't want orange. So I'm gonna come back in here and just fill this in. And again, because we had that nice base with a little bit of brown in it, it's really giving us a pretty, pretty color. And maybe you wanted orange, then by all means you could have made your lips with red and yellow. If you wanted more of a nude lip, you could have just taken the color of the skin, added the slightest bit of white to it, and you would have gotten more of a nude lip. But this whole painting is about color and excitement. And that's why I like, she's got so much going on. Okay, so I've got my lips in there. I'm gonna go back and do the nose at the end. We can start putting in our headdress, or our wrap, or our turban, or whatever you choose to call it. And what I love about this is that now this is all you. From here on in, this is all you. So you can take your pencil and just go crazy. So I have it coming off of here. So my first wrap is going to be, and again, I'm doing this a little bit darker for you so you can see it. Okay, so that's going to be my first wrap. And then my next color is going to be up there. And then something there. And this is just all going to be different, fun colors and shapes. And I mean, if you want it to be just one, by all means. But again, like I said, this is all about color. It's all about excitement, really dragging the eye around to see where everything's going. I'm gonna go this way. Maybe some like that. And as you see, none of this is planned, okay? It's happening just the way you see it, just haphazardly. You can have as few or as many. You may want more, okay? Whatever you decide you want. But this is where you decide how you want this to be, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting them in different colors. And now is where you really get the excitement of playing around with shading and mixing and blending. So by all means, do just that. You may need a second plate to blend into. It's completely up to you, what you want to do. Let me just see. So I think what I'm going to do is, because this has a lot of the brown in the middle, I'm going to bypass the brown. And I think I want to go with some red. And remember, I always pull from the outsides. And some yellow. Okay? And that's going to give me an orange. Okay? So I'm just going to come in here. An orange, and I'm going to put orange over here. I'm just going to follow my lines and paint it in. Okay, so again, this is where you're going to do what you want to do. As many or as few sections that you want. Okay. You see, I'm just following the line. And again, that line is completely arbitrary. So if you go over it, you go inside it, whatever, that's fine. If you find you're getting streaky, like this here, I'll show you, like that. Again, it can add a little bit of white to that first layer, by all means. See, add a little bit of white, and now at least it's covering. And again, if it's not all blended in, you have all these different shades, by all means, remember this is fabric that you're basically painting now. You're creating your own fabric, your mud cloth. And when it comes time to put in our patterns on our colored segments, we're going to discuss some mud cloth options. Because again, this is where you're going to make it your own. Some water. And again, if you didn't blend enough, that's okay, because again, on the fabric, the skin was one thing, the fabric's totally different. Even though I know when I'm looking at kente cloth or mud cloth, I don't see a lot of, the colors are very pronounced, and they're not very, they don't blend necessarily. The actual colors, solid colors, I should say. Not saying that they're not out there, I'm just saying I haven't seen lots of them. Okay, and I'm gonna get my sides done. Remember, sides, top, bottom, guys. Don't forget it. Only because you want to have the option. If you don't want to necessarily frame it, you can hang it on the wall as is, as a wrapped painting. Okay, I like that. It's bright, it's coming to life, okay? Maybe now, let me see, what do I want? I'm gonna rinse out my brush, because I think now I may wanna go with, let me see. I may wanna go with some green, because I love green. Some yellow up there, some blue. And remember that little bit of white I was talking about, just so that it has some base. I'm going to blend it in. So again, yellow and blue make green. Yellow and red make orange. Red and blue make purple. All sorts of fun things to play with, okay? Now, since my eyeshadow's green, I'm not gonna put this right next to it because I don't want it to blend in, but I will bring it over here. And even the brush strokes going in different directions, see how these all sway this way? Maybe if I go this way, it'll get a different look as well. Meeting up with the line, bringing it down here. Some more water in there just so it blends a little bit. Technically at this point, you don't even have to watch me do this, but you know, some of you may want to, and by all means, I'm gonna make sure you have that opportunity. If you wanna just decide on your own what colors you wanna put in there, what shapes you wanna put in there, by all means, you can just fast forward me to where we are done with all of our colors. If you wanna see, by all means, I'm gonna leave it here so you can do that. Sides as well. Pretty. Okay. So since I already have a green there, I'm going to go and add a little bit more blue. Some more of that white we discussed. But now I'm going to add a lot of yellow. A lot. And I'll get a totally different color. I mean, you could use the same colors, but just in different amounts. And have all sorts of different variations. So this is that same color that I did here, but adding a lot more yellow to it. And because of that, I'm going to put this in here. And I decided to go across that line. Didn't matter. Because again, I felt like it. And again, seeing this different way the strokes go makes a difference. Getting that tops and those sides. Great thing about this is if you forget to get the tops and the sides, just add a different color. Nobody's gonna know. I could really play some music right now, except I only have the radio, and then we'd get commercials, and they may not be playing what I want to hear to paint to. Because really different songs, different music, I like for different paintings. Get a different vibe going. Okay, how are we looking? Love it, mean it, as we say. Okay, what do I want now? I know what I want now. I want something a little bit more on the purpley side. Again, washing out my brush really well, because when we use our brush to blend colors, it really does get stuck up in there. Want that not to happen. If I had my druthers, we'd be using a palette knife to blend, but we don't have one of those right now for you, so I want to show you how I do it. So again, here's some red and some blue. I'm blending that together. Okay. Now that gives us a really dark purple. And I think I might want that up here. Ooh, it's deep. Wouldn't call it maroon because it's not, it doesn't have that yellowy tinge to it. It's really deep. I don't even, it almost looks like a hydrangea, which I love, gotta tell you that. Now, I don't necessarily want to add white to this because I don't want to mute the color. I don't want to lighten it because we'll use that someplace else. So I'll just do a few coats of this. Again, coming all the way across the top. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to really load up my brush when it comes close to that piece right there, and make sure it's dry because I don't want it to blend together. Okay, that's dry. I'm going to load up my brush and go up against it. Okay, like that. It's a grape, actually. That's the perfect way to describe this color. It's grape. So we see I have all these different colors going on based on just, you know, white, black, and red, yellow, blue. Okay. So since I have that, well, I'm out of the purple, but I'm gonna mix that again. More yellow, I'm sorry, more red, more blue. This time I'm gonna add some white to it, okay? And blend those together and see what we get. This is kind of a periwinkle because there's so much blue in it. Now if I add a little bit more red, we should be able to get more of a lilac. Yep, there we go. And I don't want to right up to that, so I'm going to put this one, turn it over there, down here. I like the color. I like how it looks against the skin tone or against the yellow yellow earrings. Now if I really want to get in there, which I do, I could always use this, or I can use a thinner brush. Right now I just want to get the color on here. Okay. Don't forget, at the end, we're going to go back and put the nose, define the lips. And I'll give you a few options for that one as well. Okay. Remember how I said it does get, when you're blending, it does get stuck up there? And I'm just going to grab my smaller brush to get really nice and up close. Okay, I'm just going to grab that. You just grab it so that I can get right up in there. Okay, so now you see, because I have this thin brush and it's kind of gloppy, I'll go back and even out the variations. Another option would be to fill this in and then put the earring in afterwards. Always an option. Okay, put that in there, get my brush back. And now feather it in. Okay. Okay. So now we have this on here. I still have another spot down here. One color we haven't done yet is a pink. I think I'd like to do that. Again, that just being some red and white. Red right there, a little white there with it. You may want to do this with just variations of one color or two colors. Maybe you like just yellows and blues and greens. You could do that. Or just oranges and yellows. Really experiment with your blending to find out what colors you like. I got some on the skin tone. I'll drag it across. Okay. Again, I'm just cutting it in because we know that the brown is already dry because that's the first thing we painted. Okay. She's really coming together. She's really getting a nice melange, let's say, of colors going on there. So now we have to fill in our other ones. Let me see, what have I not used? Correct, we haven't used yellow, other than the earring. And I don't want it close to the earring, so I'll move it up here or here. It's so funny because yellow is the opposite of purple on the color wheel. And I am going to add a little bit of white to that. Really just to brighten it up. So let's put that there. Pretty. And I'm just going to go across it. Yep, it's dry, so I'm not going to worry about pulling my hand here to lean it down, come up against it. Okay, nice yellow. Get on the top there. Okay. What other color shall we do? And I like this orange. I'm thinking if we lighten it up a little bit, it can go in here. So I will go back to my original. My plate's getting kind of full. I can always switch it up. Some white over here, Bring some of that pink up here. Now the red, a little bit of the yellow. Let's see if we can get a kind of like a coral. Well, that's kind of a coral right there. Get some more in there. This room is extremely dry, which is why my paint is drying up pretty quickly. But another reason why I like to have a glass of water, clear, clean water, so that if I have to dip my brush in there just to rehydrate my paint, it's not going to blend any other colors where I may have washed out a brush in. So yeah, I have quite a few cups of water. Okay. Get some more water. It's like the color of papaya. And I'm going to grab my small brush. To get into that small spot right there. Okay, I think I'm just going to bring this over a little bit. Okay, perfect. Okay, we have 2 more spots, and then I'm going to come right back and we're going to finish those up. I'm almost finished with getting our base colors down here. And again, I may decide I want to have 2 sections here. So I just use my brush to break it down. Then I could decide maybe I don't want it, and then I can just fill it in. This is really a kind of painting that just has a life of its own. Another thing with this, let's say you didn't want it just flat and blocky colored, you know, almost like a Mondrian, the way we're doing this with color blocks. By all means, go ahead, do some shading. Create this, make this your own. One of the hardest things I have is to let people know that this is just a guide, that we really want to make it your own. Ugh. This is probably the part that takes the longest because I didn't have pre-planned colors. You know, I have to do it the way the movement feels me. The mood moves me, I should say. Get that side. Then maybe I want to really, maybe I want dark purple, dark blue. And every color here, there's 1,000 variations of it. So that's why you can do as many segments as you'd like. And even though I have color there, I can still go over it because it's dry now. You see, I just grab whatever brush. This one's kind of a good one because it has a sharp edge. Okay. So I figured 2 more spots and we're done with this part. But what do I want to do? See, this is where it gets really difficult. I just don't know what I want to do. And you can repeat colors, even though, again, you don't have to. But again, with so many options. Let's see. I do like blue. Maybe I'll mix a different blue now. Sure, why not? This is some of this lilac down here with some dark blue. Okay, so last one. I think we're gonna go with a lighter color. Actually, you know what? I never used red. How funny is that? So maybe let's use red. Grab some red. And again, remember how those streaky, we can always put some white in with it, just to give it some base. I'll do that. See how it, automatically it just gives it something to hold on to. Okay. You see it went over into the green a little, that's fine. When we do our outlining, that's where we're going to take care of all the little sins we created, little mess ups. Okay, she's pretty much there, right? Love it. Oh, got a little mess there. You just blend it right in. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to wash out my brushes. And now we're gonna go in and take care of all those little specialty things. So I'm gonna wash out that brush, wash out my liner, because now we're up to the lining section. Just get that, wash that out. Okay. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go into where our mouth is. Okay, and where the mouth is, what we're going to do is, remember we have that nice base color? Well, we're going to use that almost as a, like I said, a lip liner, because now we're going to go back in with a little bit of red and a little bit of white. Okay, and we're just going to soften this up. That gave us our base. And now we're going to come in here. That red. Okay, and you see how it's really softening, and we're going to define the lips now. Okay, and we're going to have that line come across, but now I'm not going to put a black line coming across. What I'm going to do, let's bring this down here. I'm going to take some of the white, just white, and give it some kind of a sheen. And I'm going to take a darker red and come across. Blend this all in. And actually, because I'm having trouble getting that, I'm going to add a little bit of blue to it. Just a little bit of blue to that red, and that's going to give me that line. That's going to bring it across. I'll go back up into here, into the white, and shade it in. So you see, you play around up here for a little bit. On the top, not necessarily the bottom, but you see, the bottom's a little darker. That's fine. And again, a little bit of the red with the blue to make us that line coming across here. And drag it down. And then back with just a little bit of white, just to take not too much, just on the crest. And yeah, I'll play around with this quite a bit till I get the mouth that I want. And like I said, back and forth, back and forth. But you'll know. And sometimes you may just want it like that, where the top is a different color than the bottom. Again, up to you. If you want it severely different at the top, that's fine too. I think I like it like that. Now, I'm gonna have to get into the nose. And again, I'm going to rinse out my brush. Now with the linings that we're doing, if at any time you want to use just a Sharpie marker, by all means, go ahead and do it. This is your painting. You can do with it what you wish. So right now, I'm going to take my thin brush with just a little bit of black on it, and I'm touching here. Okay, this is all dry because I'm going to need to lean on it. Okay, so I'm going to bring my nose, which is right above my Cupid's bow. Okay, now it's a little too dark for me, so I'm going to go in and grab some of the brown. Now that brown we made ages ago, so we don't have any left, but that's okay. So I'll make a little bit more, doesn't have to be exact. So we did blue, yellow, red, and a little bit of white. but mostly with some black. So that's right there. I gave you the placement of it. If you want to leave it the black, by all means, you could do that. Because you know what? I kind of like the black. I'm going to leave it there. If you wanted to use a brown, you can go back and do the brown. What I am going to do, though, is remember I have that nice thin piece here. I'm going to come over here and just put that there. And what is that? That's just the top of the nose. Okay, so I like that. Now we're going to go in there and we're going to outline our eye. Again, making sure that's dry. Come across. This is going to be really easy for those of you who are doing it laying flat on a table. Now when you're doing these outlines, if you want to add a little bit of water to your black, almost to make it like an eyeliner or an ink, by all means do that, because that'll make it flow a little easier. Make sure it's dry. Okay. Let's just get that line in there. Okay, liking that. Now she's really getting some personality here. What I will do here is I'm going to outline my earring. Okay, and I'm going to do that with all these sections. Again, not going to make you watch that, but let me just show you another spot, because you'll know that we're going to go around the face through all these lines that are connecting. But one that you may not know, if I don't show you right now, is we're going to go around the top of her eyelid. Okay, feel it. Okay. Okay, so I wanted you to see that part. And again, now I'm going to go through everything else. Also, what I'm going to do is when this dries, I want to give her a little bit of almost like a gem in the corner of the eye, because now we're going to really give her some personality. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll be right back. Okay, so as you see, I outlined everything, and now it's really where we make it our own. I'm going to show you some different options of mud cloth. Now, I've given everyone a mud cloth listing, or you can Google mud cloth and see what's out there. And when I put my designs, I'm not going to necessarily do it all in black. I want to do different variations of colors. So a pattern that, well, you know what, let me finish the mouth, okay? So what I'm going to do on the mouth is, remember I was trying to really get it to where I was happy, and I wasn't happy quite a bit. I'm just going to take a little bit of white, and instead of going up and down, I'm just going to go across. Okay, just to show a little bit of like a glisten. That just gives it a little love. I'm going to add a little bit of the white to the glint in the eye, which again, you can do a dot, or you can do a little line like that. See how that just brought her to life? Really gave her something there. Remember I said I was going to put a little bit of a dot, almost like a gem. Do that right here. Love it. Okay, and now you're going to make this your own. And like I said, I'm going to show you a few different options, mud cloth options. Again, you can Google, see what you like. I'm going to go with the one that I love the most. It's called Luxury. It is a the symbol of, you know, this pattern means wealth and luxury. It is supposed to represent the cushions of rich women from the Mauritania area. These women are considered very wealthy. They don't have to work, just put their heads on pillows. Okay, and that is, again, I would do it with a, let me see, what color should I do it with? Something fun, because, you know, why not, right? Okay, so here, let's do some yellow. And again, when you're making these little markings, again, add a little water to it if you find it's going to move easier. So this means luxury. Basically, it looks like a pillow. So it's a V. Oh, I'm doing it on a color you're going to see on. Hold on. So it's a V going this way, right? It is a, get some more paint, another V going this way, or an L. Okay, and that means luxury and wealth. Another one is the iguana elbow, a very common pattern. This may represent good fortune, as an iguana can lead a hunter to water. The iguana is also symbolic of African-born people in warfare with foreign powers. So again, if you like that one, you can do that one. I'll show you the iguana's elbow. So in this whole section here, I would do the luxury pattern. Iguana's elbow, let me see. I'd probably do that in white. On a, let me see, over here. So the iguana's elbow, it's actually kind of a zigzag. And it's usually done in a double, which means there's another one right below it or above it. Who knew an iguana could lead you to water? So that would be my iguana's elbow. Bring it a little closer. See that? Now if I wanted to do another version of the iguana, I would move it up a bit so that they're not right on top of each other. Showing that you would do two. Okay, so we have the luxury, we have the iguana's elbow, you could do the brave man's belt. Let me see what else. You could do a calabash. Wasoko, the pattern has a unique story behind it. A farmer had a sickle that particularly liked. It worked well for him and he thought it deserved its own pattern. This pattern is named the back of the sickle blade. And that would just be here. And you just go all the way across. That's the sickle. So I'm going to work on mine, you're going to work on yours, and when we come back, we can discuss all of our patterns. So what I've decided to do now, as you see, I have all of my symbols on here, and again, I will give you a link where you can find other symbols. The last thing I'm going to do here is basically just decorate the earring. Okay, and she's finished. Well, I hope you enjoyed painting this with me today. It's wonderful to explore cultures and customs that are not necessarily your own. So come on back as we maybe delve into some other cultural options. Have a great day, be blessed, and remember, art is everything.